Hey, the last time I talked to you, I was talking to you about a ceiling fan and what I was going to do in this room, taking the ceiling fan, putting it in my mother's room, and buying a brand new ceiling fan and putting it up here. I talked to you about all kinds of stuff up there, and I was going to replace that and move that into mother's room because that's a 19-year-old ceiling fan. So if I'm going to get a new ceiling fan and there's not one in mother's room now, why not put this one over there? And when I get a new one, instead of putting that in mother's room, guess what? I'm going to put it in the master bedroom right here. And I was talking to you before and about the switch in here, power, reverse, fan, light, and all that kind of stuff, and that there's a little sensor box up in there that reads it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to teach you and explain to you a little bit more about ceiling fans. That's what this video is about. So if you want to stick around, that's what it's going to be. Now, the other day when I was explaining to you about this and the remote and stuff, and I told you I like to match existing conditions, I'm going to end up taking this Casablanca switch for the ceiling fan and stick it in mother's room because it matches up with this ceiling fan. Okay? And I didn't go any further, and I woke up this morning and I thought, you know what? I should probably go into a little bit more detail about other options that you have. I mean, do you have to install one inside a wall like this? Because when I go to mother's room, over here, there's no ceiling fan. There's nothing up here, nothing. Okay, this light switch right here is for these lights. And remember in the bedroom, oh, look at that. There is one. In the other bedroom, there was a three-way switch, and here's a three-way switch. You can turn it on and off right here for the bed, for the bedroom lights, and you can turn it off here. Oh, that's kind of good. But they don't have a switch over there. You could put a four-way light switch. That's called a three-way light switch. You could put another one over there that was tied into that initially, and that would have been called a four-way switch. But anyways, talking about the ceiling fans, what else could I have done? When I come in here, I'm going to put in another switch in here, and that switch is going to go up for the ceiling fan. Do I have to put the same type as this in the wall? No, there's different ones. There's actually at the store, you can get a handheld remote that you screw a little plastic little box right here. You can take the remote and put it on there, and then you can set your remote over here by the bed or wherever you're at. I just, because I've got these in the house, I want to match. And so when I go to the store, I'm going to try to get a new one just like this for the new ceiling fan. And this one happens to be Casablanca. They don't all have to be shown the same. This one just happens to be Casablanca because in the other room, I've got another ceiling fan. If you were with me the other day when I was talking about ceiling fans, I said we only had two ceiling fans in the entire house. Well, I was wrong. I forgot all about this one in our main room. Okay, but see this? This looks just like the other one, but it doesn't say Casablanca. And it's an ivory color. It's not exactly white. Can you kind of tell? It's a slightly different color, but that's okay. That's what they had when they installed these. Okay, so you can get that same kind, or you can get a handheld remote. And speaking of the handheld remotes, you buy those separately. You can buy those separately, and they take the place of a light switch. The handheld remote, obviously, you wouldn't install it in a wall like this. You're going to have just a separate switch that goes up, kind of like for a light switch, that just goes up for power up to a ceiling fan. And then when you install the ceiling fan with the handheld remote that you buy, there's a little sensor that goes up in the ceiling right there where the box is at the ceiling. You know, right up in there. There's a sensor, and there's wires all in there, and that sensor will come down and will attach to your handheld remote, or the sensor goes down, and if you have this kind that fits in the wall, it'll go in to that. So this one reads a sensor little box that's up there, and it's got a little antenna on it, and it's got little numbers on it, and you can change the adjustment on there and stuff if your sensor's not reading properly or whatever. Okay, so there's that kind. And the other thing to realize too, when you go to the store and buy a ceiling fan, sometimes you can find a ceiling fan with a box that says handheld remote included, and you might want to go that way. But when I purchase a new one, I don't want a handheld remote included. Okay, I want a ceiling fan that does not have a handheld remote, because I'm going to purchase one like this. And maybe the Casablanca fan that I get, maybe this will be included inside. But don't make the assumption, and don't assume that just because you bought a Casablanca ceiling fan that you're going to get this switch inside the ceiling fan box. Make sure you look on the outside of the box, read it, ask the salesperson, and open the box if you have to, if you can't see anything on the outside of it. And then they might have, you know, separate switches like this that you can purchase separately. Okay? And hopefully you can find one from Casablanca. So there's the things with that. And now I'm going to talk about some more stuff about ceiling fans. Now I've been talking about ceiling fans. This switch right here is for a Casablanca ceiling fan. Okay, this is controlling this particular ceiling fan. And I don't know if you saw my other video or not. Look at this. Here's power, reverse, fan, light. Reverse, what's that all about? Well, did you know ceiling fans have a reverse? We'll get the fan on. Now I'm gonna press this reverse. You see the way it's going is going to the left, like that. Okay. Now if I press reverse, did you hear it? What? Now look at it. It's going the opposite direction. Now it's going reverse. We call that reverse. How do you know which way is reverse? Well, the way that reverse is if you don't have a switch that says reverse, there'll be a little switch on the side of your ceiling fan, usually up there, either on top of the canister or on the side somewhere where there's a pull chain. This one doesn't happen to have anything. There's no pull chain on it to turn it on and off. There's no additional pull chain for a light that goes on and off. There's not the little switch for reverse, because it's all controlled right here. But lots of fans aren't like that. There's an actual reverse switch up there. But let's just talk about reverse. When you stand underneath the ceiling fan, you don't really feel the air very much when you have it in reverse. Okay? I don't feel it at all right here coming straight down on me. But the funny thing is, look where the Kleenex box is. See that? It's fluttering. Look at that. And here's the ceiling fan way over here, but yet that is fluttering a little. See there? Now why is that? I can stand right underneath the ceiling fan and nothing's happening in reverse. Well, in reverse, usually you do that in winter, or if you have, well, mainly in the winter, and also if you have air conditioner heating registers that are up in the ceiling. But you see here, look at this. No registers up in the ceiling. All of our registers are down on the floor. And if I had a choice, I would prefer having them on the floor, because in the winter, when the heat comes on, the heat rises. Okay? You're going to get a more quickly heated room if you've got floor mounted registers, because the heat rises. If you have registers up in the ceiling, and especially 10-foot ceiling like this, as opposed to an 8-foot ceiling, your heat has to blow down, and it has to blow down that much further because heat always rises. So you got all this heat up in here, and you're standing down here somewhere. You want to feel the heat down here, or when you're sitting in a chair, you want to feel the heat down here. That takes a lot more heat. You got to fill up this whole ceiling with heat before you can push it and push it and push it and push it, get it all the way down here, as opposed to floor registers where the heat comes up about this far. You feel nice and toasty before the heat even gets up this high or up to the ceiling. Now, in the winter, what you do is you're going to blow the heat down into your room easier, because what happens is the heat is right in here, and this ceiling fan, when you have it in reverse, sucks the air straight up to the ceiling fan. All the air in the middle here of the room is sucking up towards the ceiling fan. Okay? And then it sucks the air right up through the ceiling fan blades, and it sucks it right up to the ceiling. And then when it hits the ceiling, it pushes it. Where does it push it? Against the ceiling, up against the outside walls. So this air right now, if you could see it, this air, if I filled this room with smoke or something, the air would go up, and then it would go this way over to that wall, over here, over to this wall. And when it hits the walls, where does it go? Then it hits the walls, and then it comes down the wall. That's what's happening. That's what's happening over here. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. And of course, when I get ready to install the new ceiling fan and the new switch and all the other stuff in the other room on reinstalling this existing one over in Mother's room, I'll be sure to make a video for you for all of the different things that I'm going to do. Of course, it's not going to be in one video. It's going to be in all kinds of different videos, but I'll put them all together so that you can see from start to finish that you too can save money around the house.